7:30 here in Nigeria. Welcome back to Nigeria 2015, our continuing coverage of the general elections with the governors and State House of Assembly going on today. Let's go over and join Kaide Do, the Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of INEC. He joins us via Skype in Abuja from where he is. Good evening, Kaide. Well, I mean, what is the situation with the elections now? What do you read from your situation room in INEC?
Yeah, thanks, Chamberlain, for having me on your program tonight. From the situation room, we have been receiving reports from the field, and generally speaking, the elections have gone on quite well. In most parts of the country, we were able to commence on time, and the processes went on very well. The card readers worked well in many of the places. Unfortunately, we have incidents of security breaches in some areas, particularly River State. But the security agents have been on top of their game, and we've been able to also conduct elections in those hotspots. So generally speaking, the elections have gone on well.
Okay, well, in River State, for instance, some of those who were on the street were saying that there were no elections, they want fresh elections, and INEC should reschedule. What's the situation with that one?
The information that I have is that elections have gone on in River State. Yes, there have been cries and schemings for the elections to be rescheduled. But to the best of my knowledge, the elections went on today.
What about Akwa Ibom State? What information do you have about that? We're getting conflicting reports of a group saying that it has the elections didn't hold, another saying that the elections held. What's your stance on this?
Yeah, the information that I have also shows that elections went on substantially in Akwa Ibom State. I do not have information of any state that you will say elections did not go on, except, of course, the ones that we announced ahead, like Bayelsa State, where you had specific state constituencies where elections were deferred for reasons of challenges with the security, with the sensitive materials. Yeah, there are areas where you have violence, incidents of violence, and of course, there are guidelines that the Commission, rules that the Commission applies for dealing with cases where you have unwarranted infringements on the process, like ballot box snatchings and stuff like that. But generally speaking, the elections went on across the country.
What kind of reports are you getting about Abia State?
Yeah, again, there are reports of breaches to the peace. That's not peculiar to Abia. I've just mentioned Cross River State. You mentioned Akwa Ibom State. It happened there. Imo State. It happened. So there are challenges to the peace in many of the areas. But again, like I said, elections went on.
What happens to areas where ballot boxes are snatched?
I lost you.
What happens to areas where ballot boxes are snatched?
Well, you see, the returning officer is empowered to take a decision on what to do with areas where there have been violations of the process, like snatching of the ballot boxes or snatching of the card readers and stuff like that. Generally speaking, in such areas, if the returning officer considers this serious enough, he can cancel or he can void the elections in such areas. But again, like I said, that decision resides with the returning officer. What's
next after voiding such areas that you've just mentioned? What happens again? Will they get a chance to do this all over?
No, you see, if you have elections voided in any area, you will have to look at how the balance when the ballot paper, the results in other areas are collated. the difference between the leading candidate and the runner-up, does it make the areas that are voided, will it make a difference to the difference between the leading candidate and the runner-up? If it will make a difference, for instance, if you add all the outstanding votes, if you add it to the second the runner-up, if it will make a difference to who leads, then of course you could say that is significant. But if it will not make a difference to who leads, even if you add all the outstanding ballots, votes, you add it to the runner-up, and yet it will not make a difference. The leading candidate will still be leading. Then you cannot say that is significant.
Let me take you to.
It will not stop the results the collation process going on.
In Abia, for instance, our correspondent called in.
I lost you again.
Can you hear me now? Because in Abia, for instance, our correspondent called in, and then he said that the youths there were no elections in Aba North and Aba South. So if this were the case, what happens? Wouldn't it affect the entire outcome of the elections?
Like I said, I do not have information right now that there is an entire area where elections have not gone on. I am aware that there are places where, yes, in the course of the elections, there have been incidences, have been some sporadic violence and stuff like that. But I do not have information on an entire area where elections have not gone on. And so some of these claims again needs to be checked.
All right, talk to us about situations where people speak about fake materials, fake ballot papers, fake result sheets. In Kogi, for instance, we had that report filed in today, and police had to come in to quell the situation. In what kind of circumstance can they say, and authentically so too, that there were fake INEC materials being deployed?
You see, Chamberlain, I really appreciate you asking that question, because it is amazing how you get reports of people getting to polling units and declaring that the materials are fake. The question you have, and we've had cause to ask that question even in the situation room here today. When people say, look, the materials in this area or in this polling unit is fake, and you ask, have you seen the original? Because for there to be a fake, there must be a corresponding original with which you can, contrast that this is fake because this is the way the original looks. Now, if you ask those people, they will not be able to tell you what the original looks like. INEC, how does a voter get to a polling unit and identifies that the result sheet or the ballot paper is fake? Has he or she seen the original? So these are the claims that the commission produces these materials. If there is any phony element out there, the commission will be able to identify it easily. I had cause to tell some people today that you know that there's no way anybody can return results with fake result sheets, because the commission knows its own result sheets, and you can't bring in those result sheets to return results. But if you ask those people who are claiming that certain materials are fake, they can't tell you what the original looks like. So how do they know what is fake?
Well, what's the situation we have in Akwa Ibom State is quite dire, I must admit. What are you going to do about Akwa Ibom State now that you're having this kind of situation arising from there?
What situation? Because I lost you along the line.
The situation where one of the governor, actually, Godswill Akpabio, has said that elections went on peacefully there and there's no skirmishes, but admits that there are just little pockets of them. On the other hand, we had the former governor, Obong Victor Okta, also called in to say that elections are not holding at all and he wants a rerun. What are you going to do?
Okay, I think you lost his audio. All right, we'll sort that out in just a moment, but you don't need to worry about that. I mean, the situation is well secured. There's a security man just going back and forth in the background there.